Welcome to the Generation Fit podcast. I'm Coach Chris, my co-host, Coach Paul. Together, we have helped hundreds of desk-working men get into the best shape of their lives in over 20 years experience. Today, we talked about the dark psychology of intersexual dynamics. Enjoy. Working in the city and as a personal trainer for the last 10 years and almost 2 years in the city, you learn a lot of the dark world, of the devilish things that happen on the back end. And what I mean by that is we see people outside of work. We are like the play, the fun, right? I know we're, technically torturing somebody to be better, if you want to put it that way. But I think everybody comes in with the surface level stuff. Hey, I want to lose fat, I want to build muscle. But the difference is, especially with the married women, it was the worst because it was always, I want to do this for my husband. The next thing you know, I caught him cheating, and he'd be like, oh, like I really want to keep up with these like young 20-year-old women that he's sleeping. This guy that I'm sleeping with, he's probably sleeping with, and I'm like, I'm over here with an ethical dilemma here. It's like, all right, do I tell the husband that's funding this? Do I?
Absolutely not. If you want to keep your paycheck.
And then I'm like, but it was happening more often than not. And I'm not saying it didn't happen the other way. But I think what really goes to show is dark psychology at play, because they would always say something like, this is for me, right? I want to tone up my arms. I want my belly to be flat. I want to have a bigger butt. And then push comes to shove. Next thing you know, I'm seeing her being, it's like, oh, I'm going to be late to our session and it's XYZ after taking care of the kids. And it's like, oh, I got cracked last night by the guy or whatever. And I'm like, how is this even a thing? Until I realized that the husband is just essentially a sugar daddy, that he does not take care of himself. And we're not talking like 50, 60 years old here. We're talking like mid 30s to early 50s, give or take. And so it was happening. And I definitely saw it. I've had a few clients that were in that realm. I don't know if you saw any of that happening.
Bro, I used to take
no names
measurements. I used to take measurements for a member who did exactly that. Like, the husband funded everything. Literally, like think the pristine housewife. Like, literally all she needs to do is just work out, and that's all she needs to do. She can have her little fun side adventures because husband takes care of all the bills and everything, so she can have her businesses. And he was getting trained by our team, and she's over here fooling around with some of the team members, some of the gym members. I know, like, granted, like one time I was taking the measurements and she's like, comes in with just the towel on. I'm like, what do I do? Like, I'm like this close. I'm like, do I lick it? But I'm like, I need to stay full on professional, but it's like the guy brain is just like,
it's so bad.
Is this like, I'm like, are you trying something right now? Like, my guy brain,
it's
one of the guy brains is just like, is this happening?
It's so bad. And I think this is what really highlights what's been going on. I think it was just everything that was happening there was amplified. It was taking it to its extreme. So by no means am I saying like the guy who's living in, like, let's say suburbia, 20 to 25 minutes outside of a major city, right? Taking care of all the bills. He may have some kids and does everything right on paper. But what's happening right now more than ever is that the women are now reading these erotica books that are envisioning another man. And guess what? It's never somebody that is scrawny, that is not dominant, right? That's passive, and that is a cuck, essentially. And so the big detail I've seen here across the board, now that I've been in person for so long, is that they always look for a guy that is either, right, taller, which you can't control, more handsome, you can't control, bigger, stronger, but also has a dominant frame. And so, as we've done this in person, I would say I have not seen it not one time, where the guy she chooses to sleep with, right, to cheat with, was scrawnier, smaller, only
Mhm.
less rich, whatever. Like it definitely was not that. It was definitely like the pool boy, like pool boy vibes. It was the
Yeah,
bar the bartender.
bartender,
Oh, don't even
personal
start on
trainers.
bartenders. The personal
But we're not,
trainer, even though I kept
bro.
a
We'll
very
be
clean
here for
record.
hours if we talk about bartenders.
Yeah, I mean, and to be fair, the thing is, we were friends with all these service members, right? These service job people, because we all were tit for tat. So we would get free
Hmm.
drinks going out into these bars. They would also get free memberships, and so it was a great scenario where we can enjoy the city life.
Both halves.
Yeah, and then and only to realize that the personal trainers at our gym were sleeping around with a lot of the people who were married. But it was completely consensual. It wasn't like,
Yeah,
yeah,
100%. It wasn't like they were like,
it wasn't heat of the moment. They had a drink or two. No, no, no. This was like completely planned. It was, yeah,
yeah,
pre-planned. And then the
probably had those
bartenders
free sessions.
and got free sessions. And then the bartenders would just take it home, in the sense of like, if the personal trainers weren't taking it, they were going to take it. So it just was happening. And every single time, because we know these bartenders and we know these trainers, you bet your
Hmm.
ass they were in tip top shape.
Oh
Either
yeah,
either they had, you know, a lean and mean physique, didn't have a six pack ready, but like it were just like, okay, that guy takes care of himself, right?
they looked the part with a
Yes,
shirt on at the
they
very least.
looked the part. So when guys are like, oh, it's just pure vanity based. Oh, like I already have a wife and kids, or I just have a wife and she loves me for who I am. Yeah, she says that in front of you, but
While an hour later, she's getting cracked by Jimmy John from Red Robin's bar that she met while you guys were at your family dinner getting burgers.
yeah, or that you were flying away for your client meeting and she was going to your local bar, and a nice
Hmm.
27-year-old dude who's yoked with bicep and forearm veins is just piping her in the back of your own house, right? And I think it's a sad reality, because I think we see it as the service guys. Like, we have seen it all, and especially with the way it's always it's 100% the women. So like the fact that they are the ones reading right now, man, we just took a rant, like we just actually ran it through. It was like $610 million industry. It was 56% in relationships slash married,
Yeah.
straight, and out of those, 86% were women reading all the erotica, the romantasy novels and movies or whatever, which is crazy. Which means that there is an absolute surge of women looking for a man who is just fit and
Dominant.
dominant
Yeah. Like
together.
taking control. Like, bro, I used to, it's even as simple as, so 2 points. One, the cheating thing. They did a study that like even the way or reason men and women cheat are completely different. Where like most of the time, yes. So I'm not saying one side cheats more than the other. I think both do it relatively equally. It's just that their reasons are different. So women are more premeditated, where it's like they're finally realizing they're not getting their needs met in the relationship. So it's more emotional, where dudes are like, usually our cheating is the mistake, or they think they like, or you have the other side of the dudes that are like just shitty and think they can have every woman. But it's typically like not premeditated type shit. It's just like, I see it, I want it type shit. At least that's what I remember from like whatever article or video I saw that went over it. The other thing was, even I used to do it. Like I used to because I thought it was the gentleman thing to do of, where do you want to eat? What do you want to eat? Versus just like, this is where we're eating, figure out what you like from there. Or like me forcing an option on them of like, it's either this or that. Like, not like they still get a choice because like I know what they like, but then I'm choosing the route, like taking that leadership role. And
Yeah,
it's like the success rate of my dates when when I'm like leading, 100% higher.
yeah. I think what society has planted on us was, oh, we should let. I think it's like we should take the back step. I mean, it's been going on for almost 20 years, 30 years now, right? Where feminism really blew up, and was saying like, oh, women, it's now the women's job to take these roles, to do these things, these high powered things, right? And in doing so, I think men had backed off because they didn't want to get canceled, or the friends were probably batting into this. But now it's, we know. So. Anything that has to do with sex is probably the determining factor of which way relationships are skewing or how we need to fix things. And if the case is that they're reading books on domination, on being dominated mentally and physically with frame, it 100% is coming down to what gets them going, right? I mean, sure, there's the emotional side, right? Being able to take control, making sure that you're listening to them, right? Sure. But I guarantee you that stuff's not going to matter when it comes to sex, especially if you're the guy
Mhm.
that is lean, good looking, and she wants to
I got
jump your damn bones, And what's funny is I remember vividly, I was at a wedding, and one of my colleagues that I did train when I was younger, his wife came up to me and she said that, they just had a newborn. And she's like, Chris, my husband looks fantastic. I cannot keep my hands off of him. And I
Hmm.
remembered I was thinking, I was like, yeah, she never would have told me this when we were sober. But it also made me realize, like, I'm not, by no means am I saying that he had a bad sex life. I actually don't know the context. But the fact that she went out of her way and was
Thank
like,
you for doing that.
I initiate, I do it now. Take off his clothes first. Makes me realize how important this actually is. Because yeah, I understand. Like, I'm 31, right, and he's like right around the same age. Like, just imagine like at 40, 45, when things are starting to decline in terms of looks, in
Mhm.
terms of like, if you're not taking care of yourself, like ED is probably more prevalent more than ever, especially with all the microplastics and the amount of time we're not spending outside and the amount of time we're not lifting or
Yeah.
exercising. So I understand why now more than ever that we need dominance. But I think the dominance portion is where people are like, oh, we're listening to these two guys on the internet about dominance. Like, this kid looks like he's 18, the other guy looks like he's a Viking. And when in reality, it's what we're talking about is, why not just take care of your body so you can have the frame, right? Where she does jump your bones, where she literally can't keep her hands off you. Do you think that life would be easier in the sense of she would be doing what you asked? She would listen to you. She would also cook for you. She would do everything for you. And you're like, if you're like, okay, well, she really kind of does that for me, but there's no like spark, spiciness. She doesn't
There's
initiate.
no
Well,
passion behind it.
there's no passion behind it. Well, guess what? I guarantee you come in broad shoulders, lean waist, got some packs going, then chiseled jawline. And you know what's funny? Every research paper that comes out, the biggest determining factor for a girl orgasming outside of skill is the fact that you have a V line. Not even joking. Yes, yes. That is the craziest thing. And a V line means that means you're like 12 to 15%. And like, that's edging towards the 12 mark. So just giving you an idea. So when you hear
Dude,
that,
the amount of girls in college that would just lift my shirt at the bar because I was shredded year round from wrestling. Like I was anywhere from 3 to 8% body fat throughout the year. Like, not the healthiest. I'm not, like, you can't sustain that shit. But like, dude, there'd be like a group of 5 girls and I'm just having a normal conversation. Next thing I know, they bring their friends over and they're like, look at these. And I'm like, I'm trying not to get kicked out of the bar. I like drinking. We'll do that later. But it's just the fact that like you have these hot blonde sorority chicks coming up and all they want to see is like, to be fair, in college, I had a 10 pack, like had the 10 pack and the V, almost a double V. Like,
yeah, like, you're just super shredded. Yeah.
yeah. So it's like, that's all they want to see. And they were just like, dude, fucking mixers. No, we had the hot seat where you had to give or receive a lap dance. And like the amount of girls that just would like pick, if you let the girl pick the themes were always something that they could just get the dudes' shirts off.
That's how it goes.
That's all they care. They just want to see, like, yes, in a relationship, there's more. But at the fundamental of our monkey brains, is this something I want to fuck day in and day out? And like, that's what people don't get or get butthurt about because it's like, I look at it as like, you're not my friend if I want to fuck you. I do not want to fuck any of my friends, you know? Maybe you. But listen, it's the chiseled jawline, people. It's the biceps. No, but it's like, I feel like that's the determining factor is like, you know, because at the core of every good relationship, you start out as good friends first, at least ones that last long. But it's like the difference between staying friends and that next level is like, for lack of a better term, do I want to stick my dick in you? Like, you know, like,
Well, if for the guys, I mean, for the guy side, right? I think for the, I think
yeah,
I think the psychology behind the back end is more so that most guys would want to have sex a lot more, and a lot of the women will give an excuse to say like, "Oh, we're too busy, we're too tired, we have this coming on, we don't have enough time." Right? It's they give an excuse, but in reality, what's behind that is that there is a lack of passion, spark, or it's deeply said she does not find you attractive in the sense of your body, the way you hold your frame, the way that you carry yourself in the relationship. Socially, none of the other wives also would want to nail you or even talk about you in that way. When which people don't also underestimate is that women want to have a man that other women want. It is
yes.
basic. And if you are married with kids, the whole point is that now you are safe. It's like, no, you should be even more dangerous. You should be the guy that can land other hot sorority 21, 22-year olds and choose not to, right? That is a guy that is dangerous, right? That is dominant because he's in the position to do so. You're not in a advantageous position if you're successful on paper, have the job, have the career, have the family. But on the back end, you're not dangerous, especially in the bed or in the frame, if you're not attractive enough in the sense where she feels competition. And women love competition, hence why the guys who were getting laid back in college continue to get laid versus the other 80 to 85
Mhm.
to 90% that were not. So I am saying this out of goodwill because back to the gym scenario, it was essentially just rabbits jumping around and helping each other everywhere. Everybody was sleeping with everybody. It doesn't matter if you're married, single, bi, trans. It was everybody was jumping everybody, and it was mayhem.
Sometimes three in the same night.
And sometimes three in the same night, and with different dates. It was the craziest, dude. That is
Dude,
that
that
is
was probably
actually
the
crazy.
craziest one.
Yeah,
That was probably
that's
the craziest
disgusting.
one.
Yeah, this girl was in a relationship, then broke it off because he was too good of a dude, and she wanted like have fun. And then within like a week or
Too
two,
good
or
of
he's
a
like,
dude is fucking bonkers.
and then had consistent days of like 3 to 4 dates, and would take home at least 1 to 2 guys of those dates, and then in a spree of a month or two, like nailed I think close to like 50 dudes. Something ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
But that was a single woman. I think the craziest ones are the ones we mentioned earlier were the sugar daddies. They're not even like necessarily bad looking either. It was just the fact that they just weren't the guy, right? Like they just were not the guys super taken care of. Like, yeah, like that little pot belly. Like we call it like skinny fat, right? Like they did a little bit of exercise, but they're so focused on the business. They're so focused on everything else. They forgot to take care of themselves. And then no other woman wants them except for like maybe status, right? Or maybe money. But you don't look at them and be like, I mean, the worst case scenario mentally I think about is Tom Brady and the freaking jujitsu instructor for Gisele. Like I mean, he's not
Mhm.
like, I'm not saying, for example, I'm not saying like he's the greatest looking guy, but it's like Tom Brady is status wise the highest male high status you can ever think of ever. Like literally the
Yeah,
pinnacle.
superstar athlete, like
Yeah. And chisel jawline, like,
relatively attractive. Yeah,
yeah, lean,
like
right? And lean. And then you have like jiu-jitsu instructor, which to be fair though, is also very high in the Gracie. I think the Gracie or the
yeah,
Gracie
yeah.
lineage, but Gracie lineage, Tom Brady, and
That's
she
what
still
I'm
went
saying.
with a jiu-jitsu instructor, but it's more so that spent time with him, got to like him, but then also looked,
He
felt
put
looked
her
and
in, and
yeah,
he put her in different pretzel positions.
yeah, not naked, and then they were naked. So what I'm trying to get at, allude to, is the whole everybody thinks that like it's just vanity. Like it's just vanity. Where I am saying is when you actually get to the point where you get to a right around 12 50% leanness, I would say the health benefits become like, hey, like you just naturally have higher testosterone. You want to become a person that dominates the frame. You become the person that initiates because you are confident within oneself. which protrudes out into the relationship overall, right? It's just it's almost a compounding factor. So even if you have everything else going right for you, it's like that missing factor over a long period of time is going to be, what was your body fat percentage? How much muscle do you have in your frame, right? How healthy are you in that regard, so that you can do this for a very long time? Because I think even like ED is a huge deal right now, where it's, I should look up the percentages right now. It's like, how much percentage are there that are dealing with this in marriage?
Bro, like going along with that, like people also forget how much like stress adds on to that too. Like stress affects the ED shit, which stress also is going to affect the way you eat because you're not going to worry about what's healthy, what's not. You're just going to figure out like what can get into my stomach, what's going to make me feel good because every other part of my life sucks, you know? But it's like that then just adds more stress. And like, dude, I'm not going to lie. When I was in my apprenticeship, like I went through like, I was freaking out because my shit wasn't working like it used to. And I was like, what the fuck's going on? Meanwhile, it was one of the most stressful parts of my apprenticeship at the time and all the other shit outside of it. And I was like, okay. And then once that shit cleared up, I also took like mental supplements and shit. And then, dude, mushrooms work. Like mushroom supplements. I'm not talking about psychedelic shrooms. Like, we're not getting into that. But like the mushroom supplements, like that shit fucking, if you take a nice little cocktail of that and like, I guess it's called like microdose or whatever. Like, dude, I took a combination of, it's the name's actually funny for what we're talking about. Horny goat weed
Yeah, I've heard that.
and Irish seaweed or Irish sea something. And dude, when I tell you I after the combination of those two and figuring my shit out mentally and stress level wise, like everything, I could have grabbed the T-Rex, opened its jaw and face fucked it. Like the levels I felt of just like of like manliness, you know, my testosterone levels probably doubled. Like, dude, I would have plundered some villages, you know what I'm saying?
I wish you'd taken your testosterone blood panel from when we were working together
Now,
versus well, the whole point is to take panels during the highs and the lows so you can see how much it sways. Like obviously if you were very into all of it, I think subjectively you can just say like, hey, for example, if like based on being around you, you're probably around like the 700, 800 mark, you know, which is very healthy. And then I'm saying like, hey, you were stressed out. Like, so basically going in half is a huge deal, right? Like that's a huge jump. So
yeah.
400 is considered actually like moderate right now in terms of the statistics. But I'm just saying is that it would have been cool to know because you were definitely on one side of the spectrum when we were hanging out in the same gym versus during your low time of high stress, like low sleep, high stress, etc. It would have been cool to see that drastic. I guarantee it was definitely above a 50% loss in that interim.
100%.
But you want to hear you want to hear the stats now? You know, this is nuts.
I'm kind of scared, but yes.
All right. So a defensible spread, 1 in 3 men in their 30s to over half by mid 50s experience erectile dysfunction.
Bruh.
Yeah. And now with the milder end dominating the younger brackets. So essentially, if you're going to give it an actual number, I would say it's more like, yeah, between 1 in 3 and 1 in 2 or half. And that's a lot of guys versus 30 years ago, which is less than 1 in 10. Right. So something's obviously different in that regard. But I think most people don't understand is why we promote lifting more than anything else is because there is a physical aspect to it outside of just, let's say, cardio, right? So cardio improves blood flow to the heart, can possibly improve blood flow down below. Now, strength training, right? Strength training also pulls blood in a different way. And the difference part of it is that it's able to produce blood harder. And anything you want to go harder should be also going down there as well. So anybody who does both, right, mostly strength training and a little bit of cardio, will benefit the most to be able to have fun more.
Shoot
And
the
so,
rocket.
exactly. And so, if you're like, well, I sit behind a desk all day, I have all this to take care of. Well, guess what? It's like you probably should take it. Like at some point, you just gotta realize when is it enough that I do not enjoy my sex life, that I'm not in control of my family that I'm not getting my bones jumped. Like, it's like, is this it? Right. Whereas
Mhm.
like it's like it's like right now it's like at any given point, it's like Alyssa's always. I'm actually the one that's telling Alyssa like, hey, like I'm too tired. Like I'm literally too tired. I've been working like 12 hours. Like I'm like dead behind this computer, and then we still go. But I'm just saying, like, imagine that is the problem.
I
Is she
suck it
having?
up. God forbid my woman wants me.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Is imagine most guys are not in that position, and I'm not saying it to tout it. It's just because that is the case. Okay, and just imagine if you were in that position. It's like, wouldn't you use that to your advantage too? Like, well, don't you think that everything in life would be better when you had as much sex as you wanted to? That it comes up as if you were 18 years old again? Crazy, absolutely crazy. But I think I think it's just the dark psychology behind all this because even when we were working Piscataway, it was like some of the older women, right, that were like basically about to be married or not get married. Like they would find the trainers, and they would also be hunting, shopping around, and
Huge cute cougars down there when we were there.
yeah, and they would be shopping around. They'd be have their own good old jobs, taking care of their families, doing their thing, and they'd be looking around for somebody that's younger, hotter, whatever. But it was never about how much money they made. The guys, right? It was just more of like he's fun, he's hot, he's young, and he's got his body together, and that's it. That was literally it. So just imagine if you had that body. It's like I don't. How do you not see this disparity here? Like how is this not like priority one of being like if everything in life, right, boils down kind of like three things, right? Besides sustenance, right? It's basically sex and relationships, if you really think about it, right? Like there's really not much else anymore after that. So it's like, well, my relationships should probably be pretty good. So like I don't hate my family, I don't hate my friends and my people around me. And it's like sex. Well, it's like, well, I want to either well, if you have kids, you already procreated, but it's also like a great feeling. And the only biological driver that we have, besides getting food,
Yeah,
it's like you probably should nail these three things. And if this one is that important to you or us, it's like we probably should have our physical health at least to some sort of degree at an echelon where we can perform, where our partner actually wants to be a part of us. You know, at this point, because it's hard. I'm trying to find the defensible argument on the other side of the spectrum right now, and that's it's so hard.
I feel like when girls ask for the lights off, it's definitely not so that they don't like we don't see them. Like when I was my most shredded, there were so many times that like the lights stayed on.
I mean, I think it's context. I think it's contextual. I think it's 100% contextual. So I think let's put the other way around. So I think you're right in the sense of if you're a man between let's say 30 and 50 and you have a wife and or kids in your family and you think to yourself, okay, let's say none of you guys take care of each other like in terms of that. You're just like a little bit overweight, 20, 30 pounds, chubby,
Mhm.
chubby, chubby, chubby. Nothing like bad. Then I guarantee you the lights are off. Right. It's just like, oh, we don't, it's like, we're just okay. We're both just,
Yeah,
right. Where it's like, if one side is like super, like it doesn't matter which side, right? The lights are coming on because the other one
yeah.
appreciates the other side. So it's like, why not be the guy that gets himself in the crazy shape so that she
They
can
want the
enjoy.
lights on.
They want the lights on, but then they also want. See, this is where it comes together because then they are going to want to get in tip top shape. So then you don't go end
You
up.
want the lights on.
Yeah. So then you keep the lights on, and also that other woman wants you, and in which case, like they want it more, right? It's just like this repeating door,
Mhm.
right? It's a psychological thing, and so why not? But I get it's 100% contextual though. But the whole point is if one person is super fit or keeping themselves in shape, it's like the other person 100% will keep the lights on or want to at least. But yeah, it's every single time though. It was every single time. It was never. Have you seen a case where it's been the opposite, where it's like, oh, it's just like this fat, balding, short guy that they're
No.
dating?
Honestly, the only way I would see that happening is the dude is incredibly like gut wrenching hilarious, a celebrity, or in some way is higher status or makes more money than the current husband. Like, you don't go down, especially if you're cheating or you're looking somewhere else. You don't go down in quality, especially in looks, unless that dude skyrockets, like your income is like six figures, his income's 12. Like if he's, because when you say short, fat, and like round, all I'm thinking of is fucking Johnny DeVito.
I'm thinking of an Oompa Loompa.
The fucking penguin coming at your girl like, hey yo lady,
Yeah,
let me get
Oswald
them
Cobblepot.
jewels. Dude, that hurt my
Yeah, it was. And that's what's absolutely crazy to
have
me.
you
So
seen it?
what? Penguin?
Have you seen them go backwards? Like go like
No, no, no,
downgrade?
no. It's always at least one aspect that is superior, right? Like it's always like a couple echelons higher than where they are. Whether it be in most cases though, it was definitely looks was number one. Whether it be youthfulness, handsomeness, or fit, right? Like in terms of shredded, right? Fit or shredded. And then it'd be more of like the personality. So like the next section would be like personality, social status, funny, right, in that category. Then it'd be financial status, right? The lifestyle. But like that was barely a thing. Like it just wouldn't be too much of a thing because it's like at this point, right? It's like they already have mostly everything, right? The house, the car, like the basic car. Like there's really not much else unless they're going to be flown out somewhere. In that case, like you're just looking to ruin your life, right? Just being a complete homewrecker at that point. So like I'm saying, if it's gonna be incognito, it probably will not be financial most of the time. But it was always somebody young, hot, handsome across the board, and most of the time it was our teammates. Okay, our teammates and or
Unfortunately.
service members of bartending, of other group coaching, you know, whatever it is, Pilates, it's all these service based jobs that were getting absolutely destroying the sexual marketplace.
Dude, the amount of girls that are flirty as fuck when I'm tattooing or like when I'm working a convention, like versus me just walking around the convention, but when I'm at my table, when I'm doing my thing, like in a point of authority. Great song, by the way. Like the swooning, the flirting is just like taken up a notch. Dude, in the shop, and even in the shop, they'll be flirting in front of their dude. And I'm like, I'm like, he's literally sitting in we have a joke in the tattoo industry that like the extra chair is the cuck chair. Like it really
Dangerous.
is.
It's dangerous, man. It's a dangerous world.
Dude, it's bad. It's bad out there. Like if you're not giving your partner satisfaction in any of the key parts of the relationship, like attraction, shit you do at the house, providing, like all that shit, you're a friend. You,
Roommates.
yeah, you're roommates. If you're not fucking your wife and if they're not wanting to fuck you, you're their roommate. So give them something that they want to fuck.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Shit. Thanks for listening to this podcast. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe, share with a friend, and follow me on my Instagram. Mine is coach_Chris Lee.